what are the best exercises for lordosis? It's not the traditional core exercises, even the ones that I talk about a lot, the plank, the side plank, the bridge, and the bird dog. It's something different because we don't need to be focusing on muscle fatigue or building endurance into the muscles. We need to be talking about posture and the position of the pelvis and the spine. First, we're going to look at the hip and the spine. So what we've got when we're talking about the posture of the pelvis and the spine, just quickly talk about lordosis, which is an exaggerated curve of the lumbar spine. So what you can see here is that exaggeration of that curve. Now what can come with that is the pelvis to tilt. So here you can see the pelvis is tilted anteriorly. So the front is down and the back is up. Now if we go the opposite way, we have the front goes up and the back goes down. That's known as a posterior pelvic tilt. What this does, this flattens the spine. So what we are trying to create is a middle ground between these two. Now, there would be nothing adversely wrong to say if we can get you into a posterior pelvic tilt during exercise for lordosis, that's going to help us maintain that middle ground between the two. So when we talk about exercises, we're trying to achieve two things. Number one is a level pelvis. So we're not looking for the anterior and we're not looking for the posterior pelvic tilt. And we're also looking for a natural curve to the pelvis. So we want to be getting these positions correct. And that's what these exercises are there to do. So then when you go out into other exercises, you've built the foundation of knowing the proper posture for the pelvis and for the spine. So that, in some respects, is the foundation to all of the exercises that we're going to talk about later, and also in my 12-week online How to Correct Lordosis program, which you can get to by just clicking the link below. But what we're going to do next is talk about the muscles that are now involved in this position. And they are the psoas, the iliacus, the rectus femoris, and the tensor fasciae lata. Now, as I mentioned here, this is more of a natural curve to the spine. And when I talk about a level pelvis, it doesn't mean that the bony part on the front and the bony part on the back are parallel to the floor. So it doesn't mean that that's flat. Because the bony part at the front, which is known as the ASIS, which is, if you put your fingers on the front of the pelvis, you'll feel it. It's that bony part at the front that sort of sticks out. And then there's a bony part at the back. They are slightly, or the posterior bony part is slightly higher than the front one. Now that would be described as a level pelvis. That's what I mean by a level pelvis. That should then help create the natural curve of the spine. So what we need to be doing with these four muscles, the psoas, the iliacus, the rectus femoris, and the TFL, is we need to be lengthening them. Now that will obviously come in stretches, and that is for another video. We're not going to talk about that at the moment. We're just talking about the exercises and some of the mindset that you need to bring to it into the stretches and into the exercises. So if we just quickly go through the muscles and where they are, we've got the psoas, which comes up through the pelvis and then joins on to T12, L5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. It does go a little bit higher, but for now we're just going to focus on those. What we've then got is the iliacus, which is closely related to it, which goes right around sort of the bowl part of the pelvis, and then with the psoas goes through and attaches onto the sort of inside at the top of the bone of the leg. Then we've got rectus femoris, which comes down the front of the leg, and then we've got the TFL, which is at the top at the front of the pelvis. So all these muscles are going to be involved in, well, mainly the psoas for the exaggerated curve of the lumbar spine, and then the iliacus, rectus femoris, and TFL on the tilting forwards of the pelvis, which is why the two are so closely related. Because in some respects, you don't really know which is the chicken or the egg, which one came first. But what you do get, or what you can get, is an exaggerated curve of the lumbar spine, which is the lordosis, and then you can get tightness through these muscles. Now, you can get tightness as well as an addition to this down through the adductors, which come down through on the inside of the leg and obviously join through here, which you can see on this screen here. So this is the adductor group that sort of come down through there as well. Now this image is the deep front line from anatomy trains. So what you can see here is how closely related all these muscles are. So you've got the psoas, you've got the iliacus, you've got the adductors. Obviously the rectus femoris and the TFL are on there as well. So what we've got to be mindful of is all of these muscles and lengthening all of these muscles. But what we're going to do now is look at how we need to think about exercises for lordosis, and giving you 3 options of how to get started with that. And these are 3 simple postures. This isn't necessarily a new trend that I'm trying to create. It's just looking at the anatomy, looking at the foundation of posture, and just trying to recreate it, and using certain exercises to engage people to create that. So again, if we just go back to the 2 positions that we're trying to create, is that level pelvis, but again, it doesn't mean that the 2 bony parts at the back and the front need to be parallel and level. The one at the back needs to be slightly higher than the one at the front. But essentially we need that level pelvis. And then we just need a natural curve of the lumbar spine. So we're not looking for an exaggerated one, and we're not looking for a flattened one. What we're looking for is just a natural curve. Now, we can use lying exercises, and they are important, and I will create other videos on them and how to fit them in and why they're important. But what we need to try and do, because when we lie down, muscles relax, so it's much easier to get into the position. But what we do need to do is we need to use exercises which keep us upright, because muscles react differently, so you can get a different result. So it's very easy to flatten the spine when we're led down, but it's not so easy when we're upright, because muscles are reacting differently because we're upright. So we need to use these exercises to be able to create the position that we want. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to use these half kneeling position, and we're using it for a reason, because what we can do is we can create a level pelvis much more easily being in the half kneeling position. Because what's happening is, and the main reason is, because this leg is forwards and essentially this leg is backwards, they counteract each other. So if we go just into this position, it can be quite easy to go into that exaggerated curve, because the muscles here are tight and it's trying to pull you into that anterior tilt. But if we come into this half kneeling position, because this knee, because it's up, it counteracts this one that's back. So it's much easier to hold that position. And what you can then start to do is you can then start to feel all the tightness coming down through the rectus femoris, the TFL, the iliacus on the inside, and the psoas on the inside as well. Now, you may feel it in all those areas, you may just feel it in some areas. But what we're trying to do is create that position of the pelvis. We can do that very easily in this position. So it's just a case of tucking under the pelvis ever so slightly, creating that natural curve, and then engaging the glutes as well. Now, once we've become competent in this position, now we can move on to this type of position, because we're starting to understand the position. The muscles may be lengthening, so it's easier to get into the position. So again, we can come upright, and we can get into that sort of level pelvis much more easily and much more effectively. We can level off the spine much more easily and much more effectively. Again, when we do that here, we can then come up into this standing position and create that posture. And the reason why this posture, we come to it last, albeit the standing posture that we're going to use most, what a lot of people can do is they can use the ankles down here to compensate for what they're trying to do but not doing up here and up here. So we've got levels of difficulty as we go up, but we've got also extra levels of compensation that increase as we go up. If we start in these half kneeling positions, then it's going to be much easier to maintain that position, learn that position, ingrain that position in here, and then when we come out of it, up into the kneeling position and up into the standing position, it's going to be much, much easier. So the best exercises for lordosis are the ones that are in the upright position, because what they're doing is they are ingraining in the brain the new posture of the spine and of the pelvis. And then how we get there is by going through this simple progression of being on one knee, being on two knees, and then coming up into the standing position. And that's what my How to Correct Lordosis 12-week program is all about. It starts you off simple. Yes, it does use other exercises, other normal core exercises, but we're trying to use that after we've learnt this skill, this position of the pelvis. So if you want to start correcting your lordosis, just click the link below, go through to the page, and you can sign up right now and get started today. So hopefully this tutorial has been helpful. Hopefully what I've talked about is logical, and you're able to learn that over time, and then you could start to correct your lordosis. So many thanks for watching. My name is Chris. I'll speak to you in the next tutorial.